have a question while someone's presenting, feel free to jump right in and ask that question. But I just wanted to let you know in the end, we'll have additional time for you to ask questions. So who am I? I am Victor Montgomery. I am the current Atlanta BDPA chapter president. I've been serving in this role for a few years now, and pretty soon we'll be transitioning it to a very deserving individual. But excited to serve with this organization. We've been doing tremendous work in the metro Atlanta area. I say we focus on three tiers of engagement, that being our K through 12 collegiate group, and then our professionals. I would say our pillar program is with our K through 12 STEM program. We spend 8 months out of the year teaching full stack web development to our students. Basically, everything they learn, they can come into corporate America today and leverage it. It's just they're still in high school. So a lot of them have gotten internships where they get to leverage that skill set, but our goal is when they go to college and they get into the weed out classes, and if you're computer science, software developer, you kind of know what weed out classes are. When you get into it, we don't want them to be intimidated. We want them to just fit right in and be comfortable in that space so they can succeed and graduate college and make well for them and their family. In addition to that, 3 weeks ago, we started a financial investment program. Same group. A few newer students have joined that program, but we're teaching them about finances and about stocks. We're actually going through the investment game now, where we hook them up with an account on TradingView, and they get to play with fake money to invest. And based on their attention in class, as well as their progression through their investments, we will actually give real money to their parents, so their parents will allow them to make some investment decisions on their behalf. It's all their money, so the better they do, the better it is for them. So we're really excited about that. We're looking to start out with about 10 students getting $500 each to invest. So really excited about that. So that's what I would say is our pillar. We're still developing our collegiate program, but the reason that most people come to BDPA is for our professional services. And really what that is we expose professionals, whether you're an IT professional or you're someone that's looking to do a career change, to emerging technologies, to professional development, and to experts that can help give you insights that maybe you couldn't get on your own. We bring you into a community of people that's willing to answer questions and willing to debate back and forth to figure out what's the right way to execute on particular activities. So today we have for you a group that's going to talk you through LinkedIn. If you're not familiar with LinkedIn, it's a professional networking platform that basically allows you to connect to other professionals, whether or not you're in that career or not. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on John, or JV, as I'm going to start calling him as well. I'll bring on John so he can introduce the panel. One housekeeping item, Shanika will post links in the IM session of ways for you to connect with BDPA Atlanta and just be a part of our community. Again, if there are things that you would like to share with us, do not hesitate. Send it our way, and we will do as our best to promote whatever you're giving to us. Excited to have you all join us, and looking forward to the rest of the session. You'll see me pop in and out with comments, but overall, we have a really great panel of experts that's going to share with you. So thank you again for giving me a little bit of time to tell you about BDPA. John, if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit more about Matrix and then introducing the panel, I greatly appreciate it.
Sure thing. Yeah, it's been great working and partnering with Victor, Shanika, and Atobre over the last, I guess we're coming up almost on a year now, I think, close to it, but been really fun. We've had a lot of great sessions. This will be a great session. This is so important too. I mean, when you're in transition, so many people have been in transition this last year with the pandemic. Your LinkedIn profile is just key. And you're going to hear that. Like you heard Myra talk, and I'll say this, I was on mute, but as when you were talking about, you're not going to find anything about the new place where you're at about it being, hey, this is a great place to work. If Myra's there, it's a great place to work. So, because she'll make it a great place to work. So we're excited to have you with us tonight, Myra. And Myra will have a good perspective here. When we have these kind of panels, it's nice to have experts, from the TA and recruiting space, talent acquisition and the recruiting space. But it also is equally or even more important for you to hear, well, what does a client think? Like what does the person that's actually going to make the decision think? So that's what this is all about. So just, and all of us, Brian, Foster, and Myra, I'm going to have them all, give an introduction to you guys. But all of us kind of will look at our profiles. Foster and I were joking about it yesterday that hey, my profile should look better. I mean, this is what I do every day, and I probably need to pause and take a little bit of time, and that's that. We're going to give you guys some tips, and that's the first tip, is to actually invest some time and look at your profile. You're here tonight, so you're already doing that. But anyways, that's what the session's about. Matrix, we've been here since the mid 80s or so. I've been with Matrix. I moved down from Wisconsin in 1993. Showing my age here, and have been with Matrix ever since. I've been 27 years with Matrix. Great company, a lot of great people there, like Myra and others. Yeah, that's us. We do IT placement, contract to perm. We have a professional services arm to our company. That's where Myra worked, where we'll do end-to-end projects, and a lot of our specialty now is in transformation. So agile transformation, agile coaching, DevOps, DevSecOps, that kind of thing. So that's us. So let's get into it here. I'm going to have each of our panelists. Myra kind of jumped ahead. You can tell why she's a good delivery executive. She got in there, was just driving the process right away. I think Victor said, let's network, and Myra got into it right away. She's pushing it forward. I like it. But Myra, if you want to, maybe you want to start off again and just kind of recap your thoughts on the session tonight, and just introduce yourself again real quick, and then pass along to Foster, and Foster, you pass it on to Brian. That'd be great. And then we'll get going.
Okay, sure. Again, I'm Myra Sunbury. It's great to meet each and every one of you, and I'm so thankful and grateful that JB and Victor decided to include me in this. So I'm happy to be here tonight. As I said, my background is, project program management, Scrum Master. I have my SAFe certification, my CSM. I have a master's, an MBA, and healthcare information administration. So spent a number of years. I know we talked earlier when we prepped for this session that I started out out of college working for State Farm Insurance and in the management trainee program, and managed a group of 25 people that were twice my age during that time. And so spent about 6 years at State Farm, and that's where I really learned the crust of what it is to be a good leader, a great leader, how to manage, how to lead, and how to support and empower, individuals. And so that was a great start. And I won't go through my long history. You can go to my LinkedIn profile and take a look if you care to. But coming to the current time frame, as I said, I spent most of my time over the past 10, 12 years has been in the healthcare IT industry. So it's been a great industry to be in, in the role of project management, program management, and now the senior director of this startup company where I'm building out the PMO, putting together protocols, processes, building the governance and the infrastructure so that we can support all of our efforts of delivering on the things that we're promising to our investors at this time. So it's a remote position. We're headquartered in Naples, Florida. It's a great company, a good team of people. But as you know, when you're starting out, that whole forming and storming we're storming right now. So just trying to keep all the wheels on the bus and keep the train moving. But I have a great team right now that's supporting me in my efforts. So that's me.
That mute button. Thanks, Myra. Foster, you want to go next and give an introduction?
Yeah, I was talking to and I was muted. Hi, everybody. I'm Foster Williams. I am the founder of the Career Search Network. I've been a recruiter for longer than I want to tell y'all. And it goes back to some of you guys probably know John Davis. I know JV. I've got to get used to calling you JV. JV knows John. And what we do is we are, as far as we can see, we're the largest job seeker network in the United States. We're spread out in 21 different states as of early this week. And with me being a previous recruiter, I help connect people mainly. I call myself a net weaver. And what that means is that I connect people with people, places, and things, companies, certain people. The network is so big, it's easy for me to connect people within companies, job seekers. If you have an interest in a company, it's very easy to find somebody that already works at that company that I have a relationship with, that we're able to work it from the inside, so to speak. So I think that's probably the biggest component of this network that has made it so big over the years. We are 20 years old. In the past, I was in my recruiting, as I moved up into management, GTE and Bell Atlantic merged in 1999, 2000, and they hired me to be the talent acquisition director for North, Central, and South America. And that's really when the networking started. Later on, I worked for companies like Korn Ferry, NASA. We don't have enough time for me to go through all my years, but I really love, I'm following my calling now. I'm retired from the corporate scene, started this firm 20 years ago, and man, it is a wonderful, God just blesses and blesses and blesses. And the key thing with job seekers is to get out, meet people like here, and some people you'll have an affinity to want to get to know a little bit more. COVID has kind of added another step in this thing. We get on Zoom, and then we will connect with people and we will build those relationships. My main word is relationship. And as I'm speaking across the country, people roll their eyes in their head when I say relationship, JV.
R word.
Yeah, bad. The R, yeah, the another one of those R words, and relevance is my other one. But please, just I'm honored to be counted in the number here. And any kind of way, guys, please link in with me. There are networks and things going on all over the United States that I would be more than glad to introduce you to people and places and services. And oh, this network is crazy. I'm Foster Williams.
Awesome. Love that. Thanks, Foster. Great to have you here. Brian, you want to finish up our introductions?
I will. Good evening, everybody. My name is Brian Easter. I greet you from this wonderful city of Chicago. I have been with Matrix now going on 6 years, and I've always known him as JV. I don't think I've ever called him John since I've known him. But I am very excited to be here. Victor, thank you for including me. JV, thank you for asking me to be a part of it. It has been my sincere pleasure to do this and to volunteer my time. I am very passionate about recruiting, and I'm very passionate about LinkedIn. So I'm just anxious to share with you some of the things that I've learned over the years and some of the things that I do. And I too want to connect with you on LinkedIn. Foster, I got you. I'm going to send you an
Absolutely,
invite.
Brian.
And everybody else, let me know. I put my my email address in there as well in the chat. So please at me if you can. I'd love to get your emails. And I do look forward to connecting with you on LinkedIn. And with that, let's get it on.
Sounds great. Sounds great. So what we're going to do, we're just going to cut this session into 2 chunks. So the first one is going to be sharing of tips. And each panelist here, Myra, Foster, and Brian, they've got 3 tips that they want to share with you all. So we're going to jump into that. And then after that, and I want to give you guys some time to think about this. If you are open to it, we have one LinkedIn profile that I don't know if Harvey is on. It didn't look like it. I don't think he was feeling that great, but we have one LinkedIn profile example that we're prepared to kind of go through and just walk through it, listen to the tips, and then we're going to kind of walk through this one profile as an example and talk about what we like about it, what we think makes it good, maybe some areas that could make it better. So in that spirit, if you want to share, if you want some real-time feedback on your profile and you don't mind, putting it out here in front of the whole group, our team is happy to take a look at it and, help you. So this is a workshop, so we're here to help. So, why don't we'll go kind of swing back in reverse order. Brian, do you want to go through your top 3 tips that you'd like to share with the group? You're on mute.
Okay. The 3 things that I wanted to share with you guys is, number 1, update your accomplishments. Don't be afraid to share the organizations that you are active in, and get involved in different articles and sharing information. Let's go to the first one. When it comes to your accomplishments, as you accomplish things on your job, or you get a promotion, or you got an atta guy, atta girl, or you did something to add value, add it to your profile. Don't be afraid to do that, because especially if you're in the market or looking to get back in the market, those are things that show that you add value to the company. And it's a good thing, you've earned it. And it's not a bad thing to share that you are accomplishing things in your career. So I definitely encourage you to do so. As a matter of fact, for me, every time I win an award at Matrix, I update my profile. So if I win the Performer of the Period award, I'll put on my profile what period I won, and I keep updating it. So, but in any award that I win, I put it on my profile. So please, don't hesitate to do that for your profile. Okay. Second thing is don't be afraid to share some of the organizations that you're active in. That's actually a good way for people to connect with you. I'm still active in my fraternity. I'm active in my lodge. So, and each organization that I'm in, I make sure that I add it to the bottom of my profile. I've actually had people who have reached out to me to say, hey, I see that you're a Sigma. I'm also Greek. I'm looking to relocate to Chicago. Can you help me? And I'm more than happy to do so. Sometimes we'll joke with each other, about what fraternity, but that's okay. That's a good way to break the ice. Okay. I also look, and then also, it's also a good way to show companies that you're well-rounded, that you do more than just work. And that's a good thing. Sometimes I'll see what people do, and we may have something in common. And that's another reason that when I call you, to give us something else to share. So don't be afraid to share the organizations that you're in, okay? The other thing is, the third one was, if you see a good article on something, especially that's related to your field, don't be afraid to share it. As a matter of fact, you'll be surprised at how many people will reach out to you and make a comment or say that they like it, and then they can share information with you as well. What that does is it helps you to engage your connections. And then that way you're more than just the connection. You get to, you start sharing information with each other, and then you realize that you have more in common, or somebody that can help you with something else, or a good referral or a reference or something. So use that to leverage your contacts, and don't just connect with somebody just because they said, hey, sent you a connection. Kind of look at it, why do you have any synergies there, and connect that way. Everybody that I connect with, I send them a special letter to say, a note to say, hey, thank you for connecting. Oh, I see that you're a member of such and such organization, so am I, or something like that. But I try to make it personal. And if I should share some information, any of my connections or my friends or family, that they do anything and they share it on their page, well, I'll like it, and then I'll share it to my page and put a comment in, and then that way you can connect with their connections. So just try whenever possible to leverage your connections and engage them, other than just accepting the connection request, and that's the last time you guys connect.
And you make a good point there, Brian, about having enough things in your profile that you can have commonalities with others. So whether it's a user group or interests, that helps, because it does matter that little note that you send when you send the connect request. You want to take a little bit of time to do that, because a lot of people won't accept it. If they just get something random out of the blue and they don't know you, they might deny it. And you want to be careful with that. You don't want to get too many of those where you're sending the requests out and people don't accept them. Then LinkedIn will limit you on how many connect requests you can have. So it's important to take that time to do the little intro, write the little note, and and having those commonalities like that make writing that note easier. So yeah, good stuff. Good tips. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
All right, Foster, you're ready, man. You're on mute.
Let me do
Nice
the unmute
background,
again.
Foster.
I know. See, look you can tell. Like,
Brian, I'm being obedient to what JB was telling me
He's had
earlier.
so much success. He's like at the beach chilling. I'm like, my background is grinding away at the office. I did something wrong, Foster, man.
Hey, I've been retired for 20 years, started all this mess, and it grew up around me. It is retirement for me. As busy as I am, it is still retirement. I just get to be Foster and be silly. I'm here, guys, in Dallas, Fort Worth. Dallas, Fort Worth, and Atlanta seem to be on the front lines of everything going on corporate-wise. We're not the only ones, but we seem to be leading the pack with activity. And I hope you guys can hear the waves crashing behind me and the wind blowing back there. Calm it down a little bit. We get so busy. But, oh, good. That's what I need right there, John.
You're right.
I want to talk about that number one, candidates needing the complete contact information. Foster, as a recruiter, needs to find a whatever I'm looking for. Let's say an HR business partner. And I find a profile. Oh my goodness, this is the person I'm looking for. And I go down and I'm looking for the contact information. Sometimes, guys, now, of course, we're going to put our email address on there, but I think this is Foster talking. I think the complete information needs to be there, phone number and everything. Say if I work for Matrix, there may be 2 or 3 other companies that are that the company, which we used to do this at Verizon, farm things out, and it's a foot race. And you guys that are at Matrix, you guys know how that can be, not in all situations, but in some situations. And the faster that I can get to my client and say, hey, I have an opportunity that I think fits your background, and we talk about that thing, we lock and load, I can get there before another company, a competitive company, gets to you. And I think that's important. If all that contact information is there, I will send you an email, but I'd rather not sit at my computer and wait for you to get home from taking the kids to school or whatever, and send me an email. I might want to call you and see if I can get you on that cell phone and expedite what we're doing here and grab you before everybody else gets you. So some of you people, you guys that are in talent acquisition probably know very well what I'm talking about. Myra, I see you grinning. And okay, number 2 is utilize common connections to help connect to targeted connections in the specific companies of interest. So when we're in a job search, I think it's a good idea if we develop target companies that we want to connect with, because hey, I worked at IBM and I did product development or whatever, and maybe there's some other companies that have the same job and you come out of the same vertical. It makes sense. We recruiters like to hire that experience, especially if that experience comes out of the same circle of influence where we're working at now. And so I think it's important to connect with people. If you know, and I'm saying this, guys, because I'm a net weaver and I'm part of this huge network, but if you have connected with somebody, built a relationship, there's that R word, that's number 1 R word, JV. If you built that relationship, maybe that person, maybe Myra Sunbury knows Victor Montgomery. And I'm trying to get to Victor because Victor works in the department at the company that I'm targeting. And I've got a relationship with Myra, so I'm going to call Myra. I'm going to say, Myra, how well do you know Victor Montgomery? And she'll say, hey, I know Victor, and we lived here, and we did this, and we were on the same panel. All of this, I think, indicating that Myra has a relationship with Victor. I say, Myra, I know I have a relationship with you, and I hope that you still think I'm a good guy. And I saw a position at Victor's company, and I'd love to meet Victor. Could you introduce me to Victor or set that up some sort of way? So everything that I do is a relationship. Of course, I'm a recruiter. It needs to be that way because there are a number of ways that we can get to the person that we're trying to get to. And we have a little relationship equity is what I like to call it. And that goes a lot further than just a resume showing up on a desk, if you guys know what I mean. Okay, number 3, there it is, a regulation of the people also viewed section. Have you guys looked at your profiles and it says people that viewed you also viewed? John, could you pull that up? You might want to pull up my profile. And it'll say people also viewed. Well, these people that also viewed other people have a very, very similar background. So if you're in job search, you might be helping a recruiter get to a person that may be a little bit better fit, somebody that excites them a little bit more than you. So it's something to think about, guys, as you go. Let's
right
see.
Along here, this people also viewed.
People
this is
also viewed, absolutely.
Okay, yep.
Yeah, and I saw Brian and I got all excited about Brian and oh, there's Jordan McElhaney. Let me check her out. Or there's Tanner, or there's Daniel. I might like one of them more than I like Brian. And then I may forget, I may move on past Brian. Brian, I wouldn't do that to you, brother. But I think that's important for us to note. And there is in the settings section, you can turn that off. If that, and I say if that means something to you. Some people don't care. Some of us are purple squirrels with a polka dotted tail. Your recruiters know what that's all about. And another thing, I didn't put this down, but guys, please put your picture on your LinkedIn profile. I don't want to see a field of flowers. I'm seeing Brian Easter. I don't want to see a field of flowers. I don't want to see the dog. I mean, the dogs are wonderful. I got to pet him if I got a chance to meet him. But I'm looking for Brian. And Brian, I'm singling you out because I know seems like you have the personality to withstand me and my lame jokes.
You stole my thunder, Foster. You stole my thunder.
Who was that? Who?
It's Myra.
Hey, Myra, there you are. Okay.
My thunder about the profile picture, but all right, I got other stuff to talk about too. Keep going.
Exactly. So guys, that's 4. I went through my 3. That's 4. I get excited about what I do. This is my calling from God. My dad was a pastor. My dad said, boy, get out there and do what God wants you to do. And that's what I do. I get excited about it. And you guys that work for Matrix, you guys can talk to John Davis about Foster all day long, and you guys will have a good laugh. Okay, I'm gonna shut up.
Good stuff. Those are good tips. I can't believe you hijacked one of Myra's though, man.
That's okay, because I'm going to piggyback off of him. And JB, you can take mine away. I actually have mine up over
You
here.
got it. Okay, sounds good. I'm just trying to be helpful.
I know that was awesome, but I'm prepared. I'm prepared. But I actually want to piggyback off of what Foster just talked about relationships, and I'll give a couple of personal stories to really bring it to light. I will say, for me personally, just about every role, except for in the beginning of my career, every role, every company, everything that I've gone through now has all been based on my relationships with other people, right? I can't tell you the number of positions and companies that I've worked for where I knew someone who was able to recommend me or pull me along. So building those relationships are key. So Foster, I networking, I tell all of the younger folks, my nieces and nephews and friends, children that are coming into their own right now, that never burn bridges, and you need to network. That
Absolutely.
is key. And one personal story is that I worked for a recruiting firm. It was Excel Temporary Services that got purchased by Randstad back in like 98, 99. And I was an account executive. Now that was out of my wheelhouse. I never thought in the world that I could do sales, right? I worked for Kaiser Permanente for 6 years, and here comes this opportunity. And I took it. And Lord God, I mean, they said cold calling. I didn't know could be that good at cold calling. So I was knocking on doors, knocking on corporations' doors, cold calling on the phone. And one day I went into this company called Ares Interactive in Johns Creek, Georgia. And I kept going, and nobody would come to the front desk to see me, like, send this woman away. Finally, one day I went, and the receptionist said, she said, hold on, ma'am. She was sick of seeing me. So she called this person up and said,
Myra,
connected.
you're on, somehow you're on mute. I'm not sure how.
It doesn't show you on.
Nope, it doesn't say I'm on mute.
Okay, you're good now. I can hear you now. But
so this is what happened, Myra. You were saying such amazing stuff that somebody just didn't want it to get across.
They didn't want to hear.
That's what it was.
So y'all gotta hear my personal stories now. And so I was trying to cold call on this company, and the person finally, came out and said, okay, yeah, we really don't have any openings and blah, 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 blah. But we made a connection, and that was in 1998. She finally gave me some job orders, which was good. But she and I are best friends today. After all of those years, we're like sisters. And this particular individual lives here in Alpharetta, Georgia, Johns Creek. She knows everybody. Anybody you can think of in Alpharetta and Johns Creek, this person knows them. And she and I have been friends all these years, and there's not a place that we don't go. When I started working for Fiserv, she's like, oh, Myra, you need to call up blah, 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 blah. He goes to my church. Oh, so-and-so. All these folks that she knew that works at Fiserv. She knew folks at McKesson. So I've been able to build relationships for everywhere that I've gone, everywhere that I leave. I take away something or someone with me that has been able to help. And looking at your profile on LinkedIn, one recommendation I have that's not on mine, because Foster took one of mine. So I'm going to add this. When you get those emails and those phone calls from recruiters that find your profile on LinkedIn, don't sleep on those. Because at one point, you get a lot of those, and I don't know what happened to me this particular time, but I was getting hit up a lot and was ignoring a lot of people because I was okay with the company I was at. But finally, this recruiter hit me up and I said, I don't know. She emailed me. I think that's what it was. She emailed me a nice email. So I'm going to respond back to her. I responded back to her, and lo and behold, I got a position with another startup that's in healthcare IT. We got acquired by Athena Health. I went in as a project manager. And through those relationships, the founders of those companies, I have my job today because one of the founders of that company is now the CIO of Fountain Life. And he talked to me a year ago about this opportunity and said, Myra, I want you to come and run my PMO. But we need to get our funding. We need to get all of our investors. So as soon as I have enough money that I can afford you, I'm bringing you on board. And here I am today. So those relationships can be long lasting and they can truly benefit you. So one word of advice, don't sleep on recruiters like Foster, reaching out to you via LinkedIn, respond to yes or a no. And the other thing that's on my list is the importance of your recommendations being listed and given. So go to your friends, go to past coworkers, go to past managers, your current management, your current colleagues, and say, can you give me a nice recommendation on LinkedIn? That's important, to have people see those recommendations about what your skill sets are, what your personality is like, how you helped that organization or that company, succeed or grow or whatever it is. It's nice for recruiters and people that are looking at your profile to see other people, share something about you. And in return, I always say it's great to receive, but it's also even greater to give. So to receive, but it's also even greater to give. So give recommendations. I mean, I think that says a lot about who you are as an individual, that you're willing to take the time out to write a recommendation for someone, and provide some good feedback and details regarding that particular individual. So it's great to receive, but it's also great to give. So recommendations, I think, are key and important. Foster already talked about the photo on your profile. And one of the things that Brian and Victor and JV and I talked about was the fact that there are people who legitimately have concerns around putting a photo on LinkedIn for various reasons. Some of it is, I don't want someone to see who I am ethnically. I don't want someone to see maybe I have gray hair, because that may allow some judgment to come forth. I hear that and I understand that, but one of the things that we talked about as a group is, if someone is being judgmental by seeing your photo and seeing who you are, you probably don't want to work for that company anyway, right? So don't be afraid to put your profile photo out there. Make it nice, make it professional, make it you. I would recommend, don't take if I'm 40, I'm not going to put a profile picture from my 20s on there. So, make it relevant and make it real, right? So that's another thing. And then also having your LinkedIn profile align with your resume. I mean, I've oftentimes, even getting resumes in my hands, I see discrepancies, with dates being wrong or things out of order. So if you've got your LinkedIn profile and your list of experiences are there, make sure that when you submit a resume, that those two things align. You want the companies, organizations you work for, you want the dates to align, you want those things to be intact, because that says a lot about who you are, attention to detail or not. So, and I will tell you, one of the first things that hiring managers and recruiters do, they go to your LinkedIn profile. It's accessible, it's there. They can look deeper into who you are, who you're connected with. I got another personal story. Our VP of product management recently was interviewing a young lady here in Atlanta for a product manager's role. And that young lady, because we don't have a lot about our company out there on the website, right, other than our website. So she didn't have a place to go to see, oh, what did this employee say about working at this company? She went to the VP's profile and saw that I'm connected to the VP. She reached out to the young lady, reached out to me and said on LinkedIn and said, hey, Myra, I'm interviewing for a position with your company. Do you mind talking to me? Sure. Don't mind at all. I reached out to the VP and said, your candidate just reached out to me and wants to have a conversation. It's like, sure, have the conversation, Myra. So I, connected with the young lady. We had a great conversation and she just wanted to know more about the company. What is it like to work there? Just the basic information just to help her be able to decide whether or not this is someplace that she would want to work. So, so LinkedIn is an avenue. It's a catalyst for others to get a purview and to you and who you are and even the people around you. So, just think about those things when you're building out your profile. That's all I have.
That was a lot, though. Those are great tips. Thank
Yeah.
you, all three of you guys. Terrific stuff. I do want to go back. I want to hover over two things before we start to get into profiles. I think the photo part of it is worthy of a little bit more conversation about the judgment that you use on, do you have a photo and why and why not? I'd love to hear, like, Foster, I'd like your thoughts. Victor, I think you should chime in on this, Brian. So I think it's important. I mean, I think the whole platform is about openness.
Exactly.
And if you don't have your photo there, I think the perception, the feeling that someone else is going to have when they're looking at it is just like, well, why don't you? What are you hiding something? And I think you might have more to lose that way. But anyways, I'll be quiet and let you guys share.
Yeah, and I'll jump in really quick because there's one other piece, and then I'll get to the photo that I wanted to share, and that's LinkedIn is a social network, right? So it's great for networking, but it also has traps, right? A part of your profile is also those things that you choose to like, reshare, etc. I would say do not fall into the trap of turning LinkedIn into other social media platforms, i.e. Facebook, Instagram, etc. Please avoid that. And I apologize for my excited group. They're excited about LinkedIn as well.
Did you not feed them dinner or what's
I think they just ate dinner, so now they're running the energy off. But don't fall into the trap of turning LinkedIn into another social network where you're just having too much fun, I would say, because that's a part of your profile and people do see that. So be very careful about what you're resharing and what you're liking, because we see it. Now, onto the photo.
Can I just say, like, the elephant in the room, avoid, didn't your mom and your dad always say, don't ever talk about politics and religion? I just don't, leave it off of this for sure.
Yeah, that because they're hot button topics, and someone could be an excellent person to work with that chooses not, they don't get hired just because they're hitting those things that they don't want, that a hiring person doesn't want to bring into the organization, right? So you just have to be really careful. Now, onto the photo. Again, it's social media.
Question in that vein before.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I had and this is because it's relevant, very relevant, timely. Black Lives Matter. I've heard various things. I've heard some people say that's a human rights issue. It doesn't fall under politics. I've heard some institutes, some companies say that's a political thing. Don't talk about it at work. When you talk about not bringing politics in, human rights posts like that on LinkedIn, liking that, are you putting that in that category?
I think to be positive about things is okay. Like if you were to look at my post history, you would find a post of a couple days before John Lewis's birthday, I went down and tried to rally, a visit to the mural in downtown Atlanta, where he has, it says hero, and it's a big mural of him there. And I'm vocal about that, because it's, I view him as, such a wonderful person coming from our city. So I felt okay posting that. Someone could someone could cast judgment on me for doing that. And like Myra said before, if that's the case, then I probably wouldn't want to be connected or work with them anyways. But I think what I would say about politics is I don't think you want to get into like a negative rant on anything. If you want to be positive about something, I think that's fairly safe to do. Again, Foster, Brian, what do you think?
Yeah, and Kay, just to address your question, kind of directly. Hey, I'm excited that you asked it, right? So we definitely don't want to duck and dodge those categories that may seem to be controversial, right? So you asking that question, I believe, is amazing. I think this is a group that we can volley back and forth on opinions, right? Because again, everyone's going to see a little bit differently based on experience and vantage point, right? So from my end, when you think about Black Lives Matter and posts that may go out, no, I don't see it as a political issue. But again, you have to determine for yourself what may be a hot button topic or what may be clickbait, right? And again, some people post things just so you can click it, right? And you end up clicking it, and now it becomes a part of your profile because you clicked it and it was your recent view history, right? So you have to determine for yourself, is what I'm posting on my professional networking platform professional, right? Is it professional? Does it represent who I represent in the workplace? If your acknowledgement of a Black Lives Matter issue or context aligns with who you are, then I say by all means, let the people know who you are. This is who they're getting. But you just have to be mindful of what the reactions could be, right? That's all. So I wouldn't place like Black Lives Matter into that category. There are other groups that post certain things on LinkedIn that I question, right? So I'll be honest with you, hot button topic, right? So when we say Black Lives Matter, we're talking about African Americans, right? When we say things like Blue Lives Matter, is there a category of people that fit into that, right? And so when I see people post that, because I say, oh, they're police officers that are also Black, that falls into the Black Lives Matter. And sometimes people pit those things against each other. So when John is referencing, hey, let's not bring the negative into it, I think that's the key to it all. Like, okay, if people are posting and then folks are going on there and you'll see it, they'll go back and forth like, this is not the place for this on LinkedIn. This and people are just trying to incite you. Like, don't get into that situation, because now when I view your profile, I'm going to question your professionalism. I'm going to say, if you get into a meeting room and someone disagrees with you, how are you going to handle that situation? Are you going to explode, or are you going to represent our organization in the way it should be? Are you open to, great debate? Are you open to that? Or are you someone that's going to go on a rant every time someone disagrees with your view? Right. So those are the things that, we just have to be careful about. And before I get to the picture, that was an awesome question. So I'll open it up to the other panelists to jump in.
That was excellent, Victor. Thank you very much.
I totally agree with Victor. Totally. We recruiters, especially, if we're talent acquisition people, we are middlemen, middle ladies. We may talk to you about a certain thing. I'm gonna pick on Brian again. Brian's an excellent candidate for a position that I have. Everything that I talked to the hiring manager about that he's looking for, that's right there with Brian. Brian has got something that could be controversial. We all don't think the same. So it could be controversial to the hiring manager that I'm suggesting that Brian talk to about this opportunity that is wonderful for Brian. But when I forward Brian's resume, that hiring manager is going to go and he's going to look at Brian. I guarantee you these hiring managers are looking at your LinkedIn profile. They may not look at your Facebook, Lord, I hope not. but they're going to look at that LinkedIn. And if they see that, what if that hiring manager has an issue with that? He's wondering, okay, Brian, I agree with Foster. Brian's perfect, but if I hire Brian, what am I getting myself into? Don't know Brian other than a resume. Don't know Brian other than maybe a video that we're teaching on one of our radio shows. We're teaching people how to use video to communicate and thank you notes and all that kind of stuff to talk to hiring managers with. But you know what? We never know. So better safe than sorry, I guess, would be the Victor, would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. It's an interesting world we're in right now, and we saw it
Right.
with the young lady. Granted, she did do some interesting things in her youth, but the Teen Vogue young lady who was getting this nice position, to be over, it was like the world team, whatever it was, something really big for her, a great accomplishment. But they went back to 10 years ago, some things she had posted, and employees of the company brought it up and they're like, hey, we saw this on her social media profile. And so they had to rescind that job offer, something that could have been life-changing for her. Was taken away because of some things she did on social media, right? And again, the things she did, you know, at that time 10 years ago, it was bad, right? But hopefully she's a better person today, but that just shows how things track you. And so on social media, you can't take it back no matter how much you think you can delete, change your name. Like, trust me, like, I'm not the best programmer, but software development is my background. I can find things you think you've deleted on social media. Pretty easy. Like, it's pretty easy for me to do it. And I'm not one that's trying to truly investigate you, right? So I would just say always be mindful of what you're doing out there and what you're presenting. Onto the photo. This is one critical piece when we think about the photo. Not that it brings legitimacy to an individual, but it is social media and there are so many fake profiles out there, right? So there are many things I look at. I look at the photo, the number of connections, your posts to make sure you're active. Like, there are so many criteria that I look at before I trust that you're a real person, right? So I would say, to me, the photo brings legitimacy to you as a person. Yes, it's going to hinder potential opportunities based on people, not wanting to hire someone that fits your demographic, whether it's race, age, if you're showing religion on there. Yeah, it's going to turn some people away. But guess what? You didn't want to work for them anyway, because it would have been a horrible environment once you got there, right? So my thought is, definitely display the photo, but understand, like, when I see the photo, I think real person. When I don't see a photo, that's just another thing to say, this sounds great, this profile looks amazing, but is this person real? So that'd be my thought on that.
And something else, Victor, I'd like to add, it's not to do with the photo, but something that just came to mind. When you leave one company and go to another, I see so many people who never update their LinkedIn profile. It's like, oh my God, it's like, well, I thought you were at, no, I left there 2 years ago or a year ago, or even 6 months ago. So when I leave one place, I immediately go in, once I know the job is secure, I go ahead and update my LinkedIn profile just to keep it current. The one thing I don't want to have again is people looking at my profile and seeing one thing, and it's the reality is something else. So when we leave one corporation and go somewhere else, go ahead and update your profile. That's just a tip that I like to use from.
Yeah, and I just said over there, I had someone leave a company I worked for, and began to look for jobs, and the profile that they presented on LinkedIn did not match their history, because I knew their work history. They they stated they were a couple levels ahead of where they were in their past job, that they, did things that they did not do. Now, again, I'm not tracking them like that. I don't know what companies they're applying for, but you never know who may reach out to folks in your network just to validate some of the things you're claiming. So as much as you can, be ethical in your display, because again, it's all going to come out eventually. But yeah, I would say that as well. Please try not to exaggerate. Fluff words are one thing, but completely making up new jobs is that's going a bit overboard.
That's a great point, Victor. I counsel people probably daily on, please update your LinkedIn profile to match your resume. Like what Myra was saying earlier, please let it, because as a recruiter, that's one of the things I look at. As soon as I get your resume, I'll pull up your LinkedIn profile and see if they match. I mean, you could be off a week or so, a week or two, but when you're off like 6 months and 1 year and all of that, that's a red flag. So, again, it's update your profile and keep it accurate. And I agree with you on that, Victor. Please be accurate. You don't want to don't mislead, because you never know who knows you, and it won't take long to come out.
It usually happens fast.
Yes.
Yeah.
It usually happens very fast. I mean, well, if there's a discrepancy, if something looks far different from the resume, and whether it's dates, titles, companies, you leave something off. I mean, they should be in alignment. So, well, hey, I just want to keep us moving here. I think it's good to just look at some actual profiles. I'm kind of a visual learner, so seeing things sinks in with me well. So Harvey is usually on. He's been on the user group meeting the last few months. So I had reached out to him because he had signed up and said, "Hey, do you mind? Can we walk through your profile and take a look at it? I promise we won't criticize it too much, because it's pretty awesome when you look at it. It's a great example, I think, of a profile that you want to strive for." So, here we are. Photo. It's a great photo. Good smile. I mean, he looks warm, engaging. He looks like a nice guy. He is a nice guy. And I like the background banner here. It's what he does. So he did a great job finding something that's colorful. It's interesting. So those are things take a little bit of time to do that. You saw Foster's, that looked pretty cool. Let me go back to that for a second. He's got his show on here. I mean, that. I like it. I mean, that's interesting. That grabs you. Again, that whole thing about your resume needs to grab attention within 7 seconds of someone having it. This kind of thing helps. As silly as it sounds, as trivial as it sounds, a picture, it makes a difference. So take some time, use this. It's valuable real estate. It's right there at the top. You're always going to see it. So,
and John, when you after you're done walking through Harvey, we did have a volunteer.
Oh, great.
For a profile review.
Okay, well, we'll try to go through this pretty quickly, and I don't want to be the one doing all the talking. So Myra, Foster, Brian, I'll scroll down here, and you tell me when to stop. What you like here, what you don't like.
Well, immediately I like that he's got 500 connections. I can get an idea if I'm snoopy like that, and I really want to know, because some people that we connect with on LinkedIn are very, very branded people across the nation. And as you go down, the next thing that I'm going to be looking for as I'm determining whether I want to reach out, and by the way, because you told me about Harvey, I've already connected with him on LinkedIn, John. That's just kind of a Foster thing. But as I scroll down, I can see a lot of information to people who connect with him. I can also see how many followers he's got. He's got 679 followers. That's quite a bit. That's getting it done there. So that's telling me, let me look into Harvey a little bit more. That's telling me, being the net weaver that I am, hey, I want to not only connect with Harvey, but I want to have a conversation with him. And that's where that relationship starts getting built. It takes time, yes, but believe me, it manifests into something that we would desire to have.
Yeah. I like that he's got his certifications up. That again shows me his accomplishments, that he's continuing to grow in his career. He's investing in himself. That's a great sign.
Myra, I know you like that stuff.
Yeah, I just seeing that right there, it's just, it's invigorating. All of his credentials.
Hey, what do you guys think about the about section? Because a lot of people will talk about that, where this could be an opportunity where maybe you share a little bit more about yourself.
Right.
Yeah, mine has, I'm looking at mine now. Mine has, you know, I took that opportunity to really hone in on the about section. Yeah.
That about section can be in our networking groups. We have some groups have 15, 20-second, what we call commercials. And, you know, you can glean information out of that about section to explain what it is you do. And as Victor was talking about a little bit earlier, you know, add some interesting things in there. Okay, I do this, and this has been one of my accomplishments in that area, kind of thing. So that about section gives me a good idea of, okay, what direction are we going? And as a recruiter, what direction are you going, and where is the best place to apply your skill set that I'm going to glean as I look through your profile?
Now I'm looking at mine, and I have a lot more in my about section than what's showing there. So I'm wondering if you only, when you click on there, if there's only a certain amount of information. Yeah, see, mine's doing the same thing that his did. I'm looking at mine, and I have way more in mine.
Let me look, because I had worked on mine, and I'll show you. Yeah.
See, well, I don't know why ours doesn't show.
You should have that see more part there.
I see it when I click. So I need to.
I have a question. My name is Takia Ellis. I noticed on this LinkedIn profile that the certifications were listed as a picture versus a line item. How does one do that? I like the way that looks visually. It's more appealing than having to read the actual certification. I like that.
That does look good.
I'm wondering if it was because he leveraged the featured section and he put images out there. Yeah, so I know LinkedIn has a certifications and awards section as well that lists it out as a list, but he's leveraging a different section here to highlight his his certification. So and granted, I haven't put any on mine, so I don't know for a fact if that's how he got it to be listed this way, but we'll reach out to Harvey as well to see if he can give us some insights, but I'm thinking it's because of the section it's in.
Okay, and then I also noticed that when I highlighted his in the about section, the PMP was like it has that the copyright, I guess.
Yeah.
How does one get that in the PMP itself? Because I have a PMP as well, and I would definitely like, it makes it look more, I don't know, I guess.
I think you do the open parenthesis R close parenthesis. And
okay.
I believe it will do it. Don't quote me. I think it will, but if not, you can always copy his and paste it into
That's true. Harvey Dixon. Okay.
And also, like I know, like the Scrum Alliance, that one. When you get your certification, you're able to. There used to be the ability inside of their system to add your certifications into LinkedIn. So it was that
Yeah.
kind of like an API connection. And so, but I think for some reason they stopped doing that. So
Oh,
but I think
okay.
that was one way. I know for the Scrum Alliance, like for the there was when you got your certification, and it said, you know, you could upload it into like LinkedIn, and it would bring that over that way.
Yeah, because mine is listed as just a line item and it looks boring in comparison to this one. So I'm like, okay, thank you.
Great feedback, great questions. All right, we'll kind of keep scrolling down here just for a little bit, and then let's get to someone that's on the call. So anything else you guys want to comment on here?
Hey, good afternoon, folks. This is Robert, and I'm going to go back. I'd like to go back to Kia Ellis's question or the comment. So working at Year Up, we actually teach, and I came here to find the little nuggets that you guys may have to go into our checklist. So we have a full checklist going through each one of the sections. And under the featured sections, you actually have a drop-down list where you can add media. And one of the sections is upload a file, upload a document, of which some people we're educating folks to take a picture of, say, your certificate. So however you get that, whether it's a screenshot or you're downloading it from said particular platform. But we're also putting your resume right there. So it's quick, easy. It's something that's going to capture the recruiter's attention very quickly. And that goes back to the about section. When someone does click on that about section, right, if you were to look at mine, I actually have my skills listed there to make you want to even go further down and go, okay, well, what skills do you have? Let's talk about this. Let's look. So we actually have like a full checklist for our scholars to actually go through, talking about your pictures, making sure that you don't see your friend's arm. It's not like a cropped picture and you see your friend's hand stuck on the side of it. I'm trying to look at the checklist now. So we go through a bunch of little, is there more than one Robert Touch in the world?
There's a lot of them.
That's it right there.
This is it?
Yeah, Robert C. Touch. No.
It's amazing.
There we go.
Yeah, the
Nice.
real time look into the profiles.
There we go. Hey, listen, I'm more than happy to have feedback. I know I need work. But I'm constantly trying to do it, as you all are saying, but looking at the photo, making sure that it's not blurred, that you're having a professional attire on, so on and so forth. But if you go down to even that little about section, we talk about the bar section right underneath, like what are the jobs that you want to go for versus, oh, that's interesting that it doesn't have the about that. So now I look at it from my perspective and you don't see where it goes into the about. Maya, like yours. Okay. Very, you know what? I bet it's because I haven't accepted you. I wonder if that's it.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing, that maybe because we're not first level connections.
So LinkedIn has pseudo security in place. You can get a taste of me, but you can't get all of me.
Yeah.
Well, I just hit the accept button, so let's see what happens.
Okay.
But going back to the 500 connections, we talk about making a total number of connections. Try to talk to 5. It's an algorithm to see exponentially who you know, how much do you know, when do you know it, so on and so forth. So it's actually really interesting to go through the algorithms of the total number of individuals that you know grows your network by such. If you probably hit refresh, I accepted it, but I don't know what it is.
Let's go back.
But we go through the education section, looking at your headline section, which is what Harvey has, senior project manager / senior management at so-and-so. We often ask our scholars to say, put the job that you want or are interested in to let that recruiter know, well, this is a field or an area of expertise that I'd like to get into.
Hey, JB.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at mine now and I see the see more under the about. It's there for me and I can click on it and it opens up
Okay.
all the details. So I don't know what.
now you're making me want to go back and look and see why that doesn't happen like that. So thank you for letting me know.
Yeah.
It's there.
Okay. Well, let's, I'm gonna stop here just to be able to see the chat a little bit better. Okay, Victor, help me out here. Who are we, who has been so courageous that they're willing to put their profile up in front of us?
Like the suspense. No, go ahead. You can unmute and present yourself, and then we'll go out to your profile.
I'd like to shoot my Hamiltonian shot if I can. This is Kay Wolf.
Okay, how about we, I just was pulling up Samuel's. Is this right?
Yeah, I just put the LinkedIn Samuel Nixon Jr. Yeah, that's it.
There we go. Okay. All right, Kay, and then we'll come to you after Samuel.
Yeah, this is what I've had so far. I've got to do some more updating on it, but this is what as far as I've gotten at this point. So I'm open to any suggestions that may be helpful. I didn't know about the picture part that you could put for the certifications and things there.
Yep, and you could do something here too, just in this banner section here. That looks kind of generic in my opinion. So to do something there would be good.
And that area should be used more for the just highlighting points or things, since I already have the areas of experience there under the name. So the banner is more for just highlighting areas that you want to, I guess, indicate interest in, or what would you suggest?
I would say it's an opportunity just to express yourself somewhat. You saw Foster's, where he was, broadcasting his show there in a way. You saw Harvey's, where he used project management as where he lives his life. So I, that would probably be something along those lines, where it would be relevant to your background and what you're doing, what you want to do.
Okay, so a place to make a statement in terms of things you want to highlight to the reader to jump out at them. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Panel, what do you think?
Go down a little bit further.
Okay.
All right. Looks good. Yeah, so far it looks great. With the
Wow.
education, yeah.
I mean, my God. I mean, MIT and Harvard. I'm blown away, man.
Oh well, just indicating some of the educational background.
Well, it's about as good as you can get.
That's impressive. Yeah.
And I like the volunteer experience. I think that's also important and key, volunteering and the any accomplishments that you've made.
I've got to add, as you can see, that that was up to the 2016. So I've got to add more to the volunteers, because there are about 10 other areas in there, but so I've got to update that. Now, let me ask you this. You see that I had my high school on there too. Should I remove that? Because that's, I don't see that on many others. So So just do from the college level up is basically what you would recommend?
That's what I recommend. Yes.
Okay.
College, yeah. And
Yeah, I didn't know from the aspect of those that you were saying earlier about connecting through similar people that say, oh, I went to that school too or so. So, but I since I don't see many of the high schools, I can take that off then.
I don't feel strongly about that, but I have seen situations where I've seen an employer and a candidate end up connecting with one another and everything coming together, them hiring that person. Maybe not necessarily because they went to the same high school, but maybe it was just in the same area and it was oh, I went to school in the Chicago area or whatever. Oh, so did I. And there was no other way to know that they were from there. And it just kind of helped with the whole connection of things, if that makes any sense. But again, I don't feel strongly about it. I don't think it's a negative to leave it on there either.
Well, let me ask one other thing along the line.
I would take the, first of all, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I
No,
got
go
to
ahead.
because I see you're from St. Louis. I see Beaumont High School. I'm from Missouri as well.
Yeah.
But what I would do is take the years off because age discrimination, not calling low, don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying age discrimination is real out here.
Yeah.
So anything to do with age, not saying that they won't find out at some point, but I just wouldn't give it to them right up front. So
I
personally,
that's a good point there.
I don't know what everyone else.
It is real because I do know that too. Let me ask one along that same line now, not the high school, but what about things like I've participated even at the younger age in junior achievement and things like that? Does that just to note prior things like that, or does that matter, you think, or is more along the line of these last, again, 10, 15 years or so, or 20 years?
I keep mine to the last 15 years. That's just me personally. I don't know what Brian and Foster, what do you think?
I usually keep mine to about the last 15 to 20.
Okay.
At a certain point, the life doesn't fit on one page anymore.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. And as far as the years go, I kind of agree with Myra on that. Before I took a position with Matrix, there was a company that had called me, and she said, "Well, how come the year you graduated college isn't on your resume, but it's on your LinkedIn profile?" I'm like, "Well, it really didn't matter." And she accused me of trying to be deceptive. So I'm like, you know what? How about we just end this call? So.
Oh, okay. All right. But I understand that with the years. There's no problem. Yeah. I appreciate that.
So Samuel, I'd say two things real quickly, just in the about section.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sometimes less is more. Sometimes this is an opportunity for you to, shine a little bit more. So I think you could expand upon that section a little bit.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You could use that to just talk about who you are as a person, even some of your interests, things that you've achieved. I think, maybe even share a very, very brief story about, what it's like to be a Harvard grad or what it was like to be at MIT. That would be, I would, if I were you. If I achieved that, I would mention that there. And then the other thing, just further down here, I think this was, Myra, was this your suggestion on the recommendations? So, you could be working this whole aspect of LinkedIn a little bit more. If you give, you will receive. I promise. You start getting into your network and you start giving some recommendations, they'll probably give you some back, and you should have more than what's here. So
okay.
The the current, you know, like I may have gotten some from 2 years ago or 5 years ago. So I try to go in every year and ask folks to, you know, and
Yeah,
I'm
I
not,
just haven't asked. Yeah, I have.
yeah, I'm not always the greatest at it. So many other things go on in life as well, but
Yeah.
yeah, trying to keep up to date with those would be awesome.
And Samuel, you can do a Google search on different images for your banner.
Okay.
Just find something that you like that's unique for you. You might want to have something that's got an education background if that's what you want, but you can really jazz that space up.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right then.
Hi, I have a quick question again, if whenever it's a good time to ask.
Sure.
Um, I am searching for a new opportunity, and I also have a consulting business, and I'm working, and I do have a client that I'm working part-time with. So, and I was advised by a couple of people to just, yeah, I can include that in my profile, my LinkedIn profile, because I am, you know, I am keeping my skills fresh and everything. So are there pros and cons of listing myself as being self-employed by this organization, or what should I do?
Well, I mean, for me
Well,
personally, I have
problem.
my real estate license.
Mhm.
And that's there. So people see that, I mean, whether I actively do anything at this point or not is one thing, but I do list that as a license. And so I personally don't see anything that would be a huge negative or red flag to a hiring manager if I saw that you had your own consulting firm or
Okay.
And Takia, if it's relevant to where you're going, you're applying for a certain job and your work that you've been doing is relevant, you definitely want to have it on there, because what companies want to do is hire that experience, and pretty much, you know, anywhere that it comes from. Because sometimes you can you can apply it to what they are, what they're doing, and you can have some value add that they don't even know anything about, and get them excited about actually bringing you aboard.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. The feedback was so needed.
And
Thank you.
thank you all for your feedback too. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Foster, I have a question for you. Going back to my notes here. You were mentioning about having access to telephone numbers, quick and easy access. In this age of cyber stalking and so on and so forth, and again, I'm working with young adults between the ages of 18 and 24. We often ask them not to put their telephone number. You don't know exactly who's calling and who's going to just start bullying you. And we know the age of bullying and so forth. Obviously, this is supposed to be a professional platform. So where do you draw that line of, yes, I need your telephone number, but then there's people out there that are like, yeah, I'm not quite ready to put my telephone number out there for everybody to find.
I'm really glad you brought that up. I forgot to say a portion of that on that number thing. Guys, you can get a Google number, especially for ladies. We suggest that ladies, given this crazy world we live in, that you can get a Google number that is dedicated to your job search or for some other purpose that you have. And when that number is called, you can put that number on your connection platforms, not just LinkedIn, but have people call you. And when that number rings, you know it's about the job, or you know it's about maybe something else that you set up that's pertinent in your life. But yeah, Robert, I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you.
We deal with that whole scenario, even internally and externally. It's like, all right, you get a bunch of 18 to 24-year-olds together, male and female. And as soon as you start saying, hey, well, I like you or don't like you, then it feels like middle school all over again.
Yeah.
But then you take it to the next level, and now it's professional scenarios that play out like that. So we're always cautious and conscious about what information. We even tell them, don't put your address. Do not, because people will look and see, well, you live in College Park, so maybe you don't have transportation, and just start making assumptions. You just say, hey, I live in Metro Atlanta versus Stone Mountain or wherever else. So we're very cautious about
Right.
where they live, so that you're not pigeonholed into somebody automatically thinking, well, you're just not going to get to work because you got to take the train, or maybe assumptions automatically already start happening based off of your zip code.
Right.
Yeah, too much information can be worse than not enough.
And thankfully, we're now in a remote world, so we really don't have to put, only we need to put is a number and an email address.
Right.
Okay, Kay, help me find you here.
Hi, John. Thank you kindly. Appreciate
Yeah.
that. All right, so I'll drop a link. You may have to friend me to see it.
I got it. Okay. There we go. Great. Hang on one second. Let me share. All right. That's a cool banner.
Mm-hmm.
Nice picture. You're using the open to work
I
feature that's
immediately
been
see
added in
security.
the last year or so, right? I like that.
that feature.
Yeah, that's awesome because I immediately think security when I see your banner.
Awesome. That's what I was going for.
That is awesome. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna start scrolling down. You guys chime in. Tell me to keep scrolling or stop.
So, okay, we're going to build your network of connections.
Yeah.
Thank you kindly.
You're already connected.
Here. I'm just for the sake of time. I should have put a note in there, but yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
Got it. Thanks.
I like that my next job should offer me, I like that.
Yes.
That's nice. First time I've seen that, actually.
Yeah, it's the first time I've seen it as well.
Cool.
I'm also looking for another opportunity, and I've heard pros and cons of using the open to work frame. So I don't use it at all. However, the recruiters know that I'm open to work.
Yeah, as a recruiter, I like the open to work because I normally get a faster response from those guys. And I know that, and I'll even tailor my message. I'm reaching out to you because I see that you're open for new opportunities and you are local to Atlanta, Georgia, or that you're local to Chicago. And I'm reaching out to share this opportunity with you. So I personally like that feature. And I'll even do a search strictly by people that are open to work.
I agree. I think it's a great new feature to have the open to work. And I'll even give Myra a tip, our expert panelist, as someone who's trying to hire people right now, Myra, you could go into your picture and it's a purple little slash that comes across the bottom in that same area, and it'll say hiring. And I've seen,
I just saw that.
I've had clients have great success with that. So I would do that if I were you.
Yeah.
All right, Foster, what you got here on Kate? Look at it was kind of cool how the about section opened up for us on this one. Did you see that?
Yeah.
But I need to figure out why it is and why it isn't.
Yeah, interesting.
When it's
Robert's worked for me. When I went to it, we weren't connected, but his about me section expanded for me.
As we put it in rewind a little bit, that open to work section, I like that. Some people are controversial across the nation about that, but when I see that, as a recruiter, I know that the majority of the people that have open to work are not working currently. The vast majority of now, if I work for a matrix and speed to client is essential, I will say, hey, I have a good candidate named Kay Wolf that I want to submit to you. And guess what? She is available. She doesn't have to put in a 2 weeks notice right now. She's available to go to work right now. You know how the priorities are in corporate America sometimes. And sometimes that can make you the candidate of choice. I've seen that time and time again.
Interesting. And to touch on that point. As we scroll down, you'll notice that I am a 1099 contractor currently. So
Yeah.
that's still, I still have that flexibility to
Right.
drop and
right.
go. Oh, could you scroll up just a little bit? There's a multimedia tool that I think would benefit everybody here, and I want to share it.
Going up.
It's like a minute and 3 seconds. Yes, just a little up. It's the video resume, and I used this at a speed interviewing event with Deloitte.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
You just click on that.
Where am I? I have my Zoom things maybe covering it.
My picture right there.
Right here, this.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is an embedded video. Nice, nice. I like that. I
Very
did
nice,
a
yes.
session last summer on the use of video and embedding it. You can use video and embed links within email messages to introduce yourself. You can embed it in your signature and your email signature. You know, and something like this too. This looks excellent.
And Kay, I noticed that you only have your first name listed and your last name as an initial.
That's because we were a second connection.
Oh, okay. So you
Yeah.
first connect. Okay, okay.
So
I thought it was because she was a security professional. She's like, I'm not giving you all of my information.
Nice.
let's see. I don't know if you've accepted my my invite to you or not, but let's see. Let's see if I refresh here. If
Yes, I did indeed.
I had a question too with the video part. Are you saying that that's a feature within LinkedIn?
So I recorded the video, and you can upload multimedia in that section, and you can highlight it.
Oh,
And
okay.
It's
okay.
a 63-second video. And then in this section here in the featured, I also added other multimedia presentations. There's a slideshow here that goes over the SolarWinds attack. There's a case study.
And is that the only section you can upload the videos in?
To my knowledge.
Okay, and is there a limitation do they give you on the video in terms of like a 1 minute versus a 3 minute or something?
Not to my knowledge. Basically, what you're doing is just embedding a YouTube link. So I recorded the video on my smartphone with the tripod and professional lighting. When I say professional lighting, I don't have weird shadows, and I try to make everything look even, well lit. And I use a tripod so it's steady. Upload to YouTube, and then take the link, place it in that section, and there you go.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. That's good to know.
You're very welcome, Mr. Nixon.
Yeah, and John,
Good idea, yeah. JV, I'll pick on you with this one. You might remember this because you've been around IT recruiting long enough. So even in today's day and time, I think that video is a good idea because it represents how one would present themselves. What we run into a lot of times is when we are looking for certain skill sets in the IT arena, the only people that qualify sometimes that we're able to find, sometimes, not all the time, that we're able to find are people that are of foreign descent. They are from other countries. And it is very, very important to some hiring managers that these people are able to come in and communicate well. There's some people that have such heavy accents, you can't really understand them. And I have seen some of those candidates be overlooked because they were not able to communicate well. And in a situation like Kay has there, if we were to click that, we'd probably see that she does a wonderful job of presenting herself, and she would fit into a company structure very easily with the communications skills.
Yeah, that's an excellent point you're making. And I think on the flip side of that, especially on LinkedIn, the reason some of those candidates will come up very high in your profile is when you review their resume, they're listing many of the technologies that you'd be hiring for. So anything you can think of, software development, infrastructure, hardware, I mean, certifications, whatever, I mean, you see it on their resume. So they're definitely coming up high on any search profile you may leverage. The other piece on Kay's profile, back to her about me, she asked a question in regards to me being excited about the data that she's sharing within her profile. Whenever I meet with, even from my level, executive up, and we chat in numbers, right? You can get the warm and fuzzies about how well someone communicates and how excited they make the room. But when you can share numbers, that's where the true excitement shows, right? So, Kay, when I saw yours and I saw that you were highlighting the metrics in regards to the impact you were making, within your career background, I get excited because I'm like, okay, here's someone that cares about their impact enough to do research to understand what's whether it's financial, people, time saved, whatever, but what's the metric impact to what they're doing, because we can't take your metrics away. Like, those numbers are always going to be there. So to be able to share those, I get truly excited because that's what we use as we communicate up to different levels. We just use numbers.
Awesome. Appreciate that feedback, Victor. Thank you kindly.
Excellent feedback, and that it's similar feedback from our last month's resume workshop. We talked about that, didn't we, Brian? Just using quantifying your resume, you can quantify your LinkedIn profile. Same way. So very important. Great point, Victor.
And something else I'd like to compliment Kay on. Don't scroll back up a little. It's where she's highlighted in her about, you have the artistic eye and strong work ethic, but you like to foster an element of fun and a little bit about yourself outside of the job, outside of work. You're staying, you love traveling and hiking and exploring new places. I think it's really good for people to see the other side of who we are. Right. So I really compliment you on putting that detail in there.
I do too.
I do
too. I think that's important. I like it. Anything else we want to comment here?
These are the nuggets that I was looking for.
What's that?
These were the little nuggets that I was looking for to take back to some of our scholars.
Yeah.
These little punch points.
Nice. Well, looking good. Hey, we're at 8:15. Victor, sorry we ran over. This is good stuff, though.
They already?
This is really good. Yeah.
Oh man, this was amazing. So I know we're over a bit, but I do want to see, be courteous to our speakers and those with families. But are there one or two questions from audience members that we can cover at this time? Really quickly, we'll give like 30-second answers, but is there something that's on your mind that we can potentially help with before we drop?
Victor, I was going to ask, this is Sam again, for the one for Harvey, is it possible to put that LinkedIn link in the chat? I did want to take another look at that.
John, would you mind posting?
I got it. Yep. I'll find that while you're. Yep, I'll find it while you're talking.
Okay, thank you.
One more. One final question? Anyone else?
I don't have a question. I have a comment that I'm hoping that will help us. This has been an amazing discussion. I'm here in Houston. And one of the things that I do is help professionals to use LinkedIn. Not one of the questions over here in the chat said, do you use LinkedIn like a resume? And my response to that would be, consider LinkedIn to be your online profile when you're offline. So when you're asleep, when you're, not thinking about being online, people are looking at you. So what do you want to have show up? If it is just your resume, we just saw in the featured section that you can literally upload your resume. So if all you're doing is repeating your resume, you're really not using LinkedIn for its full potential. So, just kind of keep that in mind. And some of the suggestions you all have made tonight, your personality, show if you're changing careers or crossing sectors, how you can apply those past skills to this future of work, this future experience that you want to take on. And then the last thing I would add is the banner. That real estate is so, we're visual, we're all online all the time. So please take the time to add something on the banner. I dropped something here in the link that said Canva, Canva, like victory. And Canva is free. It gives you the exact dimensions of what you can, you can create. You can go in there. You don't have to be an expert. I know we're all IT folks, right? But you don't have to be an expert at LinkedIn in order to leverage that real estate, because that is the first thing that people see. Last really quick point is everything under your name is a keyword. So when you show I'm this person doing this at this company, that company probably has enough hits, lots more hits than you do if you're looking for a new career. So consider putting skills, putting the things that it was a great piece of advice when somebody said your experience for what you want to do, put those things in that key piece of real estate, because all of those are keywords when people are searching for someone like you. If you have just, I worked at these companies, you're not in their search. Thank you all so much for this.
Landy, are you familiar with the BJM, with Between Jobs Ministry down in Houston?
I am not.
Okay, you and I have connected on LinkedIn, so I am going to share some information with you. They are probably the biggest component of the network. There's a huge network, wonderful, wonderful companies that are involved in all that down in Houston. And given your background, I think it would be really beneficial for you to be connected with a couple of folks there.
I'm quite honored to hear that from you, my friend. I do want to say that. You all, this has been amazing. Thank you all so much.
Awesome.
Good luck to everyone on their search.
Yeah, and even more amazing, we have Foster here from the DFW area in Texas, and we have Landy representing us from Houston. So we made it. We reached the South over Southwest. we made it, BDPA Atlanta. no, but I am truly honored and excited to have all of you join us today. Again, to our panelists, Brian, Myra, Foster, the information you shared today, the nuggets that you've given us have been amazing. Hopefully people had their notebooks available and was jotting down a few things. But if you did not, you would have the opportunity to rewatch this again on the BDPA Atlanta YouTube channel. So feel free to subscribe. Take your time. You can rewind, watch in slow motion, watch in 2x speed. Whatever floats your boat, but I encourage you to subscribe to the BDPA channel. You will also see this on our BDPA Atlanta website. But again, I couldn't have asked for a better panel to assist us in sharing this information with our membership and guests. John, as always, thank you for your assistance and matrix and supporting our vision and bringing us a wealth of individuals that share amazing content. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Shanika to see if you have any closing words. But from me, I really appreciate all of you and thank you.
Thanks, Victor. Yep, no closing words. So again, if there are any links that you all would like us to post in a follow-up message, then feel free to post those in the chat and I'll add them to a follow-up message that I will post shortly after this. I think there were some questions earlier about, like Victor was mentioning, the financial literacy course for students. If you're interested in that, I can share the registration link with you. The current cohort should be ending soon, but there should be more coming up in the future. And then also for the STEM program in general, if you have any students that are interested in that, I can share details for that as well. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining. Hope you have a good evening.
Awesome. Have a great evening, everyone. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I mention one thing. Victor, what are we going to do June 16th?
June 16th, my fault. I should have announced that. We're going to have an interview session. So we went through resume, we went through LinkedIn. Next up is interviewing. Oh man, I can't wait for the panel to come through and share information on interviewing. And you never know, you may be one that can get asked a couple of mock questions on the spot and have all of your peers weigh in on and give you feedback on your response. So really excited about that. Be on the lookout for the communications and the sign up, but definitely want you all to participate in the interviewing session.
Awesome. Great session. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Have
Thanks,
an awesome
everyone.
night.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody.
Take care.
Great
Thank you.
meeting everyone and connecting. Thank you.
Thanks, JV. Thanks,
I
Victor.
appreciate everyone.
Thanks,
Thank you.
buddy.
Thank you all much now.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.